We'll start with the Celtics and the Bucks game. How it will ended. Get into this final with the Heat right now. How do you guys think it is going? We'll start with you, Sam. First time on the show.
Yeah. So I think truly the Celtics kind of just grinded that series out. I don't think outside of Jason Tatum, nobody really particularly made their stamp throughout the series. But I think on individual games, you saw guys like Al Horford, guys like Grant Williams step up. Jaylen Brown, was his solid, consistent throughout the playoffs. And so we saw that team move forward because Chris Middleton's injury, as well as nobody really on the Bucks stepping up to really match Giannis, I think offensively. I do think moving on, if we move on to the Miami Heat, the Celtics, they're having a tough time because the Heat have a defense much like them. They like to muck games up themselves. They like to make it difficult on other teams, But we saw Jason Tatum yesterday not have a good performance, although Jaylen Brown did have 40. The Celtics, I think the story of that game was turnovers. So manage their turnovers. I think truly they are the better team. I will say I am a Celtics fan, but truly I think they are the better team in this conference finals here against the Miami Heat. And so I think if they can limit their turnovers and not let the Miami Heat defense do to them what the Celtics usually do to other teams, and they will have a chance to move on to the finals in 7.
Okay, good take. What about you, Mike? What do you think?
First off, I believe a few episodes ago, Leslie, you said, I ain't worried about the Heat. The Heat don't scare me. All right, Mr.
You got to eat that one. No, I mean, big time, because they made it all the way to the finals. I wasn't scared of them when they played, Atlanta. Yeah. But I do think, the injury of Clint Capella did eliminate a lot of, defensive things that they could have, done. It made Bam Adebayo look like Joel Embiid, and that's not really who he is. But that series, he went off. And then moving on, the Sixers, somebody else, the big man Embiid was hurt.
Sixers are already in Cancun. Wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah, they're already in Cancun. But go ahead. This is your take.
Yeah, so listen, I did say Bucks in 7. I was hoping Middleton would return, but he didn't. So we'll never know. But the Celtics are a more well-rounded team. And unlike the Suns, which we'll get to unfortunately later, Jason Tatum was able to step up and match Giannis in Game 6, right? Put up 46 points. Giannis, obviously the best player in that series, but, Tatum stepped up. And then in Game 7, Giannis, 25 and 20, but, missed some shots he usually makes. You can't keep... I think he had like 200, 150. First player to ever do that. So props to Giannis, man. 34, 15, and 7 per game. So he was spectacular. But at the end of the day, you're right, Sam. Like the Celtics had a better overall team. They grinded it out. Role players got hot in Game 7. And, today's May 22nd. The Heat are winning 2-1, but I'm still picking the Celtics in 7. I'm with you on that one. Leslie, you guys Celtics in 7?
Celtics in 6, baby.
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think Celtics, man, the Heat, if Jimmy Butler comes back healthy, they could push it to 7. But either or, I'll call the Celtics winning the whole thing.
Okay.
Finally.
Yeah, well, now, because I told you, it was always going to be
Eastern Conference is going to win. What's that mean?
Eastern Conference, because I was picking either the Bucks or the Celtics.
I know.
Why? Because Giannis was the best player remaining in, the playoffs. And if you have the best player in, basketball with Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, they've shown you when you have the best player, you have a chance all the time, So I was always I was never going to, count the Bucks out, even with Middleton's injury. But again, I have to, understand that the Celtics, to me, are the better team this year, all rounded, offensively and on defense as well. On offense, they have Jason Tatum. He can get any bucket he wants. They have Jaylen Brown, who could do the same thing. Marcus Smart is being a better shooter. You have Al Horford, who you can always rely on. Grant Williams is hitting the threes like no other. He hit 7 the other game. So, they have guys that can always step up. On defense, they play better as a team, and you can love them for that. So that's why I always said, whoever won that game was going to win it all. But now we know it's the Celtics. So, yeah, I don't think the Heat will be a huge problem. You got to understand, out of 12 quarters, the Heat, I believe, have won, 2 outside of all of that. So if they're up 2-1.
Yeah, they won them by 90.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But my point is, whenever the Celtics lose, they lose big. Whenever they win, you can tell they're always the better team, and they find a way to somehow at the end lose. They've dropped 2 games where you can tell this could have been a 3-0 lead right now for them. So I do think right now, like I'm always calling it early, Celtics in 6. But like I said, if the Heat can push another one, then we'll get Celtics in 7 regardless.
Yeah, the Heat definitely know how to extend the series, but I mean, 2 quarters out of 12 is hard to believe in long term. I think a game where you're up 25 at halftime and it gets down to 1 point lead before, I think some careless fouls, some things of that nature. But to let them back in that game is problematic for the Heat as well, as I'm sure they're talking about, within their locker room and things like that. But I think Celtics in 7 on my side.
But yeah, Sam, I hear you. 10 out of 12 quarters overtime, but on that note, in game 3, Butler looked like he has knee inflammation. What's his status going forward? This is important.
Yeah, so he had a knee inflammation. That's why he didn't return. But they're optimistic that tomorrow he might be available. But we got his injuries day to day, so we got to wait to see each day how it
He's playing great, man. He's playing great.
He is playing great.
Yeah, he is.
He's playing like a player that you can easily rely on if you put pieces around him. He's looking like one of those players that you build around. And again, the Heat also have a great coaching staff. Mike Spoelstra, you got to give him the props too.